am speaking with my friend Iva Rukelj. She's an intellectual property attorney, and I felt that she could share some insight as to how we can, as artists, protect ourselves. We go through her sense of style, which is eccentric and unique, and she leaves us with a humbling poem that speaks to her experience during this very unsettling and tumultuous time.
Then, hello, Eva. How are
Hi,
you?
Mia. Good. Good to see you.
Likewise, I have to say, for those that don't know you and all of the various
No one
iterations of your
knows me.
hair, well, now they're about to know you. But however, this is my favorite way of your hair. So I love that you have gone all au naturel for our conversation.
It is
Um,
made specially for you, just so you know.
Thank you. Nice earrings. Thank you for wearing the little hearts. So I'm taking an opportunity to use this gift that I have given you and a few of my friends, and obviously in hopes that these circles are going to expand and grow. I wanted to connect, but you have a very particular job that I came to actually need at one point in time in my life. You have helped me navigate a very peculiar situation where I found myself being copied and my designs were being copied and I was not protected in any way. And I thought it would be really interesting to reflect on this little thing that you do that's really helpful for everybody. You're an IP lawyer, intellectual property lawyer. You've been doing this for quite some time. You have done some marketing type stuff law right in Croatia. And being that IP was sort of a new field, your interest brought you to New York, and now you're an in-house lawyer for a company that does a lot of internet content. So can you give me a little overview as to what you do, and also perhaps an overview to what, as a creative person, what should be looking out for? Take it away.
Sure. Thank you. So first of all, thank you for this opportunity and thank you for these lovely earrings. The little thing that I do as an intellectual property attorney is actually a huge passion of mine. I love creative people. I love being surrounded, with smart, interesting folks who maybe think in a different way than maybe lawyers do. Um, Perhaps the most important thing is what I would say is just to be aware of what you're doing and to understand enough about the law to know when to speak to someone and get maybe more professional help. The thing is that there are a couple of components to intellectual property, and then to add a twist to that, fashion is very specific. So I think that the main one that we can talk about and is copyright. So copyright is something that really protects artists in a I would say most broad way, which also from legal point of view is not as great because it's a broad protection, it's also the weakest protection.
So what you would say to everybody is that once you complete a piece of art or a piece of design, you should go to the United States government copyright section, and I'll obviously share that. And they should basically publish that. So they include the information. Usually the basic copyright is about $55, right? And it's just out there in the ether knowing that you have registered this, regardless of how broad and it's almost like weak protection it is, it's still some form that gives you the right to go and pursue the other party should there be a crossing of the line.
You'd need to have that piece of paper to give you legitimacy to go after someone. And work of art needs to be copyrightable, needs to have that protection, needs to be unique, and needs to be created by you know by human. Which is interesting because a lot of the things are now created by AI, and that's not necessarily protectable under copyright. And why I said it's broad and weak, because the bar is kind of low to get that protection, you know.
Mhm.
And now, of course, with the internet, everybody's exposed to everything.
You know, when you talk about fashion and you talk about like the sort of the broad and weak, you know, weak protection, how difficult is it to protect yourself or to go after a very large corporation? As a small independent designer, you know, usually a lot of us are sort of at the forefront, right? So we bring that revolution, right? We bring new ideas. We are able to push the boundaries because we don't have a large body to respond to. We don't have a board of directors. So our risks are taken because we don't have a lot to lose.
That's why I think it's very important to, you know, to have someone to guide you through that process, and to kind of, you know, create maybe rapport between, you know, the company and you, and see if there is another way. And I've seen that, you know, if there is a way, you know, for potential cooperation.
There is an opportunity to perhaps use the somebody knocking you off to your advantage by engaging with the company and asking them to be paid for that work, like, or trying to work with them in a sense of collaboration and be like, I recognized you knocked me off, you know, can we make a partnership and I can design something for you, versus immediately going after the guns and
Yeah,
suing them.
Credit me.
And so obviously setting up a copyright for that specific design or art or a piece of writing or literature in any way. So that's one. Is there anything else that we might not know of?
No, absolutely. And I think you do know it, trademarks. So trademarks are more commercialized aspect of your business. So, you know, the name, you know, Oblik Atelier. So that's a trademark, right? I hope it is.
Done that. Yes, it is. It is a trademark.
Big companies invest a lot of money into their brand protection. So, and trademark, again, is just part of building your brand. It's always good to go through that process with the US Patent and Trademark Office, just to see what's out there.
I have a question for you. You know, I know a lot of people. I actually purposely, when I started my designs, and this is right out of college, I called it Mia Habib Jewelry. And then I consciously made a decision that I wanted to separate the two entities. Yes, there's Mia Habib and she does her own thing, but Oblik Atelier speaks to what I do. I do know a lot of people that run their businesses under their name. How does that, like, how do you trademark your own name?
So there are certain rules to getting a trademark, and they're a little bit more strict than the copyright rules. And that's also part where, you know, you want maybe at that initial process, when you start thinking about the name, start talking to someone.
Okay. Third, is there a third?
There is a third.
Okay.
There are a few others, but the third main ones is patent. So patent is it's a tricky one. It's the most difficult one to get, but it's also the most, I would say, secure one. And it gives you it gives you very strong protection if you can get it. And there are two kinds. There's design patent and utility patent. And I think that, you know, design patent would be something more applicable to fashion, if at all. Like if that shoe has something that's unique to it and it's not necessarily functional, it doesn't serve the functional purpose of the shoe, then, you know, if like no one else ever in the world, and they do all at the office, they do all the searches, ever came up with that, then you can get the patent registration for that.
So does that mean that Christian Louboutin has a patent on the red sole, or no?
So he actually has trademark protection on red sole. He still has the red sole as his trademark, but unless the shoe is all red. So if you do all red shoe, you can have red sole. So he got it, like his red a little bit cut in that.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was interesting. And
Thank
you know,
you.
and then just to kind of, you know, wrap it up, because I think that this like legal talk gives everyone a little bit of headache. Folks can protect their work. whether it's you know, some kind of technique that you can have them sign some kind of, you know,
A
you know,
disclosure of some sort, or
disclosure, yeah, this is mine, please don't use it, and so forth. And those things, you know, if someone wants to do a bad thing, they're going to do it, you know, regardless. But if you
right.
give someone notice and, you know, be like, hey, this is, and again, we go back to everything is about communication. You know, and if you say, look, this is something that I created, you know, I think it's unique to me, and I just, you know, I would love for you to use it, but I don't want you to sell it, and you know, like continue doing
Hmm.
that.
Well, that sounds really great. Actually, it's not really boring. I think it's really
Oh,
important for us to be aware because us creative folks, right? We are driven by this perpetual desire to continue on our creative path, right? So we want to be productive, we want to innovate, we want to be just, you know, pushing forward. And it's very hurtful when you something that you conjure up that has, you know, there's thought process behind it. It's sort of a birthing that you do, and when you see somebody knocking it off, it's a very painful process. So being at least equipped to understand the differences between copyright and trademark and patent, and knowing that there are resources out there that could protect you on a minimal level, I think it's really helpful. So I really appreciate you taking the time. It's not boring, it's exciting, and I think we should all know that. But I did want to switch gears because one of the things that I love about you, you know, you're an attorney, you go to court, there's a specific rule as to what you wear. However, you know, since I've met you, I have witnessed so many different sides of Iva. You know, you have a very particular sense of style. It's quite unique. Uh, so can you talk about your style, and then can you also talk about like where does this aesthetic come from? Like how did you develop this unique take on fashion?
that's, thank you for first of all for complimenting me. I can tell you how I feel about it. So how I feel about the style and what the style should be is, you know, it first of all, it should come from within you. So, and that's why you can see so many different things in my closets, my closets, because it's
Closets plural.
plural. Yeah, it's because like there's so many, you know, different aspects of each individual, and you cannot box it up. And then, you know, something that, you know, one day works on me, it's not gonna work the next day. And I like putting different things together. I like to play with pattern. I like to play with uh, different material. I like to put together things that maybe not necessarily would be, you know, like presented as example, a book example, like this is what goes together. I like to experiment, and I'm not afraid of that. And to that point, you know, like I want to say 70% of my clothes is black, in black color, just because I like how it feels. I like simple, uh, but also playful. I obviously love you and love your jewelry, but what I love about it is that I know you. I know, like, it feels like a connection, you know, with you, with your art, with your thinking, with your, you know, with your soul, and I love that. And I have, you know, similar
Mm-hmm.
idea and similar feeling with other aspects of, you know, what surrounds me, including clothes. So, you know, I work with designers who are, you know, like also small designers, who
Mm-hmm.
create things that I know are, you know, very good material, quality material, and that are made, you know, unique in a way. And also they bring their, you know, their sweat, and their ideas into it, and that's what I just feel special wearing those kind of pieces. So
Yeah, I think you
that's,
seek out the connection, which I think is really lovely, and
yeah,
I very much appreciate that. For creative people, it's really wonderful to find supporters of like you out there that can recognize a good design, that can also feel it, and they want to wear it because they feel like they want to amplify your message. They feel really good wearing it, but they also want to be asked about it so they can talk about it. And I think you do a really good job to be an ambassador in the brand. So thank you for doing that. I wanted to know, it's been an interesting time for us in New York, and I have just fled for 7 days ago. I left for a little reprieve. But if there's a thought or something that you'd love to share that touched you, or that you feel like I want to put it out there so other people are aware of it, I would love for you to leave us on that note.
Sure. So something that's actually very, very personal and intimate to both of us, and that is you had recommended your old yoga teacher for
Julia Frodal.
Julia Frodal, shout out to Julia. And I've been, doing meditation with her. I've been doing, a little bit of deeper dive with her. And as a part of that conversation, she shared a poem with us, which in this time, last few months, we all went through, I would
some
say,
version
like,
of hell.
Yes, I was gonna say emotional roller coaster, but yes, in hell. This little poem is something that kind of reflects that, getting back together to yourself is like a constant reminder, like, hey, I'm your buddy. I got you. So if you allow me, I'm gonna read. It's gonna be horrible when I'm reading it, but
no, please.
I just like to finish in that, maybe in that tone. Is that
in
okay?
that spirit. Yes, absolutely.
Spirit.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyway, so sitting on the fence. Come sit down beside me, I said to myself. And although it doesn't make sense, I held my own hand as a small sign of trust. And together, I sat on the fence.
That's really, really, really,
sorry.
really good. Thank you. No, I think that's really wonderful. It is extremely powerful. You had mentioned this is Michael Lunig, right? That's his name.
Australian, yeah.
I love that. And I think it's really humbling. And also, it's a great reminder, because I think that we have all experienced that. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing this too, and being trusting that it's a good space to do that. That's a big deal for both of us. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for creating that space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.